They say history is shaped by the survivors, but sometimes the survivors are the ones rewriting it. Rome, the beating heart of an empire that stretched across continents, a city of power, splendor, and secrets. It was July. In the year 64 AD, Rome stood proud under the rule of Emperor Nero. Its skyline was dotted with towering temples, marble palaces, and narrow, winding streets packed with wooden buildings stacked high, dangerously high. But beneath the glory, the city was a tinderbox. In ancient Rome at sunrise, temples glowing, street vendors busy, hazy air. The poor were crammed into insulated, rickety, flammable apartment blocks, often 5 stories high, with cooking fires flickering in every cramped room. The streets were narrow, cluttered, and dry. Rome's architects had built for beauty, not for safety. There were no fire codes, no emergency services, no exit plans. And the summer was hot, unforgivingly hot, crowded Roman apartment buildings, flames flickering from cooking pots, heat haze rising from rooftops. But more than anything, there was tension in the air. Nero, once hailed as a promising young emperor, was now seen as unstable, unpredictable, and dangerous. Whispers of his excesses traveled faster than the Tiberias current. Lavish parties, poisoned rivals, conspiracies. A hunger for music, fame, and power. The Senate feared him, the people mocked him, and Nero, he craved adoration. His silhouettes in gold robes displayed in the city, and senators whispered in dark corners about him. As Rome simmered in heat and fear, the winds changed literally. The dry summer air grew still. The city held its breath. And then, on the night of July 18th, the silence was shattered. A scream, a spark, a flicker of orange in the darkness. People saw a terrifying view of the city. The fire began near the Circus Maximus, the giant chariot racing arena. No one saw who started it. Some said it was a kitchen mishap. Others said it was sabotage. But what followed was something no Roman had ever seen. Rome, one of the greatest cities in the world, was about to burn. Flames engulfing wooden buildings, smoke rising, people running in panic, and birds scattering from the sky. It began in the darkness at the merchant stalls near the Circus Maximus, a flicker, a flame. And within minutes, a firestorm. The wind howled down the narrow streets, fanning the flames like breath on dry kindling. The fire didn't crawl, it sprinted. Wooden beams exploded into sparks. Thatched roofs fell in on screaming families. Walls cracked under the heat. Panic consumed the city faster than the fire itself. Streets of ancient Rome ablaze at night, flames leaping between buildings, people fleeing, clutching children and belongings. The fire raged for 6 straight days. It spared nothing: homes, temples, markets, and monuments. Of Rome's 14 districts, 10 were reduced to rubble. The temple of Jupiter Stator, a sacred site, vanished into ashes. So did the house of the Vestal Virgins, where Rome's spiritual heart once beat. The colonnade melted, statues cracked, marble bled black under the fury of the flames. Temple collapsed, statues burning and smoke columns twisting into the sky. And what of Nero? The emperor was at his palace in Antium when the fire began. When he returned, rumors began. Some claimed he watched the fire from his tower, singing about the fall of Troy. Others said he played the lyre while Rome died screaming. Was it true, or was it the perfect villainous myth, crafted by his enemies? Yet in the public eye, Nero acted. He opened his gardens for people. He ordered emergency food supplies and reduced the price of grain. But it was too late. The city was broken and the people were angry. They needed someone to blame. Angry crowds gathering at burned-out ruins. Whispers and glares aimed at Nero's palace.
Blame, betrayal, and blood. Nero turns on the Christians. Rome lay in ruins, its ashes in the streets. Statues shattered, tens of thousands homeless. Whispers grew louder, accusing Nero himself of starting the fire to clear land for his dream palace, the Domus Aurea, or Golden House. It wasn't just a home, it was a monument to his ego. a palace of gold and jewels, built on the bones of a burning city. Desperate to shift the blame, Nero pointed to a strange and rising group within the empire, popular, misunderstood, and already hated by many: the Christians. They refused to worship Roman gods. They spoke of a coming judgment. They gathered in secret. To many, they seemed like a cult, and now a convenient scapegoat. Nero accused them of arson, and the sentence was death, in ways darker than anything the empire had seen. Imperial guards were kicking down doors. Some were sewn into animal skins and torn apart by dogs in front of cheering crowds. Others were crucified along the city roads. At night, Nero lit his gardens by using the bodies of the condemned as torches, burning them alive in twisted displays of both punishment and performance. Even the people of Rome, no strangers to brutality, were horrified. This was not justice. It was madness. But the message had been sent. Blame redirected, fear reestablished, and Nero's empire, at least for now, stabilized. Yet the cost was enormous. Rome had changed forever. So had Nero. From that moment on, he wasn't just an emperor. He was a legend and a monster. And people split in fear and awe.
Rebuilding Rome, a city rises, but at what cost? Out of the ashes. Rome rose again, but it was not the same city. It had changed, just as Nero had changed. The emperor launched reconstruction. New roads, wider streets, fireproof, but behind the reconstruction was another motive, one grander than anything before: the creation of Nero's personal utopia, the Domus Aurea. Scaffolding on buildings, polished marble, golden mosaic details of the Domus Aurea complex. The Golden House stretched across more than 100 acres. It featured man-made lakes, gardens. At the entrance stood a colossal statue of Nero as the sun god towering, gleaming, watching over a city he nearly destroyed. Interior of the Golden House decorated with lavish frescoes, massive halls, spinning ceiling, and sunlight was streaming in. Public anger simmered beneath the surface. Nero's enemies in the Senate grew bolder. The upper class whispered rebellion. Even his allies started to turn. In the provinces, revolt stirred. In Rome, plots thickened, and across the empire, a question echoed louder and louder. Had the emperor who once sang while Rome burned finally gone too far? Roman senators were huddling secretly. Nero seemed alone. Only 4 years after the Great Fire, Nero's reign would collapse into chaos, betrayed, hunted, and declared a public enemy by the Senate. He would flee the very city he rebuilt. And in the end, the man who watched Rome burn would meet a tragic, isolated death alone and afraid. What history forgot about Nero and the flames after Nero's fall? Rome erased his name from monuments. Statues were destroyed. His memory was cursed by the Senate, damnatio memoria. He became the villain of every story, a madman who fiddled while his city burned, a tyrant who murdered, sang, and torched the world. But was it the truth, or a carefully crafted tale written by the victors? Historians today still debate what really happened during the Great Fire of Rome. Was Nero truly the arsonist, or a leader overwhelmed by disaster? Did he build the Domus Aurea out of vanity or necessity? What's fact, what's fiction, and what's simply lost to time? What we do know is this: the fire changed Rome forever. Architecturally, politically, spiritually, it reshaped the empire. It rewrote power. It even birthed one of the greatest propaganda legends in Western history. And it left behind a warning still relevant today when leaders chase greatness without conscience. It's often the people who burn. Modern-day Rome slowly rises from the ashes into modern cityscape, overlay of ancient ruins fading into present. The Great Fire of Rome wasn't just a tragedy. It was a turning point. It was the moment when a city fought for its soul and a man lost his own. And in the glowing embers of that night, the world learned even empires built in marble can melt in fire. This is The Lost Chapters, unearthing the stories history tried to bury. Subscribe to discover what the textbooks never told you.